And welcome back to the Howard Payne SAGU Lions game. Tim.
It is a game.
The story of 2 quarters is what was talked about there during halftime. Talk us through this.
Absolutely, because you have the Lions score 35 points in the first quarter with the very beginning of the second quarter, and then the last half of the second quarter is all Howard Payne, and it shows on the stat sheet. 244 total yards for the Lions, 202 for the Lions. For the Yellow Jackets. Those rush yards, 121, as they found a real answer with Batten towards the end of the second quarter. The Lions with 3 total turnovers, actually, resulting in 17 points. You have the interception leads to a field goal, the fumble on the kickoff return leads to a touchdown, and then just the kind of awkward C.J. Collins fumble at the end of the half. Going back earlier in the game, obviously, 2 turnovers by the Yellow Jackets. The pick 6 to get it started, and the fumble that led to the touchdown from the 4-yard line. If you are just joining us, though, for the second half, this game was not always 35-20. This was a 35-0 ball game midway through the second quarter, and it's that awkward situation of, if you told me 2 hours ago, hey, it's halftime, Lions are up 35-20. I say, oh, great half, awesome. That's all positive news. 35-20 after you blow a 35-0 lead, it feels like it's slipping away from you, and it sets up a huge first drive for the Lions here, who will be getting the ball first.
And you said it at the break in the first half. It's not often you see a team who is down 35-20 walk to the locker room more excited and hyped up than the team that's winning, that has 35 points. SAGU walked to the locker room with their heads down as HPU fled off the field, sprinted off the field to kind of make adjustments here for the second half. The momentum is most definitely in favor of the Yellow Jackets.
Not only that, because it's 35-20, but it's been 4 straight scoring drives. They found some footing on offense. Yes, some of it came exactly off of turnovers. They only had a 15-yard drive for their first touchdown drive. But they've found some footing on offense. Early on, they had nothing going on. Up the middle, they were getting stuffed. They were turning the ball over. They couldn't break any tackles. The Lions defense is starting to miss some tackles, starting to have some tackles broken. It is going all Howard Payne's way. So now it's going to be up to C.J. Collins, who momentarily, with just over a minute left, or no, under a minute left, thought they had taken a 42-13 lead. Instead, a holding penalty erased that touchdown. And around 4 plays later, it's 35-20. Now he is about to get a very big test. We asked, how does Howard Payne going to react? We stopped asking it once we got to 28 and 35-0, because it's like, oh, well, it's just not their day. Well, they've reacted perfectly. Now how can the Lions react? You've had a 20-minute break. You've got to the locker room. You've regrouped. You're fresh. You're about to get the ball back. How do you react with the threat of a momentous comeback just right behind your heels at this point?
You got to look for the Lions to come out here first drive. Their defense was on the field so much in that second quarter that could have led to some tired legs, leading to those touchdowns by the Yellow Jackets. You got to look for the Lions offense here to kind of orchestrate a long drive, 5, 6, maybe even 7-minute drive here, hopefully, if you're the Lions offense, to get your defense even more than just that halftime rest, because they need it. They were on the field a lot in that second quarter.
And those first 2 drives, they made good stands. They were able to hold and stop the long drive from resulting in a touchdown. After the first Lions turnover, they held it again. So you thought you would weather the storm. Oh, it's 35-6, big deal. They had a brief rally, but now it's over. But by the end, they were just out of gas. I think it really showed in that last touchdown, where you had 3 defenders in the area, and they were just unable to converge on the ball. And because of it, what seemed like was about to be a very long night for the Yellow Jackets and just nothing but a 4-quarter party for the Lions is now very much a ball game, as we are about ready to kick off the second half. I said you couldn't ask for much bigger stakes to start a season off in pregame, with the Yellow Jackets trying to break a big losing streak and the Lions trying to recover from a disappointing season last year. 2 teams really trying to prove something. Well, they're both, their feet to the fire now. They're both really trying to prove something in this second half.
SAGU now going from the right to the left of your screen, have not gone this direction since the first quarter. Coincidentally, the last time they scored was that first quarter. And the kick is up, and it is brought in by Carl Morgan. He's going to try to cut it towards the middle of the field, cut back. Tries to make a couple men miss. He's going to be brought down at about the 27, 28-yard line. Good return there for Morgan.
I mean, every time we've called his name, it's been all positive so far this game. He had the pick 6. He had the forced fumble, led to the touchdown. Had a couple of really good, solid tackles. And he sets the Lions up 3 yards further than they would have been on the touchback. That's kind of the measuring stick. Anything beyond the 25 is better starting field position than you would have had automatically. Obviously, the ball has to go in the end zone for that, but.
Collins comes out with J.P. Lowry to his right. 2 receivers out there on his right and 1 to his left, and Brian Dotson. And here's the snap. Collins back to pass. Quick strike out to Dotson. Dotson gets just shy of first down yardage, but there is a flag on the field. It could be holding. Not a good way to start off for the Lions.
And you've seen the flags really shift this game, too. Early on, we were talking about how devastating the flags were for the Yellow Jackets, what they kept erasing, the holes they kept putting them in. For the Lions, you've now had it erase a touchdown on your last offensive drive, and now here a quick 11 yards is erased, and it is 2nd and 20 back at your own 18.
J.P. Lowry still in the backfield. 1st and 20 for the Lions. Steve Lawson in the H-back, kind of tight end position here for the Lions. Collins going to hand it off to Lowry. Lowry up the middle, breaks free into the secondary, picks up just about the yardage he needs to get back to the original line of scrimmage. Good run there for J.P. Lowry to get the yardage back.
Tackle made by Tevin Dawson. He came up with some big plays in the first half for Howard Payne. And he prevents that run from going any further, so it's now 2nd and 11. Yeah, decent run by Lowry just to kind of get that footing back, get that yardage back.
Collins in the shotgun with Lowry to his right again. He's going to hand it off to Lowry again. He bounces it to the outside. He's got room. Look out, J.P. Lowry rumbling down past the 50, down to the 45-yard line as he bounced it outside and turned on the Jets.
And does such a good job directing traffic to Dotson here. Gets outside. You see him pointing ahead. That's the guy. Block him. Give me that hole. I'm going to cut through here. J.P. Lowry with 2 huge back-to-back runs. Takes it down into Howard Payne territory at the 45-yard line. Good heads-up play by Lowry just to identify who needs to be blocked.
Lowry again, straight up the middle, and he's upended again. 1st down yardage. J.P. Lowry taking over this game here to start the second half.
He quickly moves the Lions over 40 yards down the field on 3 straight runs. We've seen a lot of players just take over the game so far like this, and now it's Lowry's turn.
Collins with Lowry again. We'll see if he give it back to him. He does. Lowry bounces it outside, and he's got room. Lowry again rumbling, throws a stiff arm, battling that time with defensive back Jordan Smith. J.P. Lowry carrying the offense as he gets it down to about the, looks like the 12 or 13 yard line. And we have a Yellow Jacket player down.
Splendid job. Nothing in the middle. Going, and just getting grabbed at the 19-yard line, getting around 6 more yards. That is Tevin Dawson, who is down, a name we've called multiple times in this game for very good plays. He's down. It didn't appear that there was anybody in the vicinity. He was pursuing Lowry when he went down.
May have been off the big block by Bryant Dotson as J.P. Lowry broke free down that sideline. Dotson came back and threw a huge block there for Lowry.
Good to see Dawson now sitting up for the Lions. Thanks to J.P. Lowry, who has now taken this ball from your 18 down to the Yellow Jackets 12. All on his own.
Single-handedly, absolutely.
All on his own. He has had every single carry. Good to see Tevin Dawson up and walking off the field pretty much on his own power. And this is exactly what you needed. After that penalty erased a good 1st down gain. This is exactly what you needed to start the second half off. Just got to keep this drive going, push your lead back up to the 3-score range. Try to dissuade any more notions of what would be an epic comeback attempt by the Yellow Jackets.
Ricky Bickham in the backfield now as Lowry gets a much-needed break. Bickham now breaking forward for about 4 yards.
And he always he always puts the ball down with such frustration when he gets tackled because he knows if I could have broken that tackle, I was gone. And if he had have broken that tackle, the tackle made by number 41 for the Yellow Jackets, that's Colin Wright. If he had a broken Colin Wright's tackle, he would have been gone, no question.
Collins now 2nd and 8 with Bickham to his right. He's going to hand it off again. Bickham to the outside. He's got the wheels. Can he cut it back inside? He's going to break the plane for a touchdown. Ricky Bickham fighting for every yard, and he gets his 2nd touchdown of the game.
Fighting all the way in. That's not Bickham's style. His style is to walk in untouched. He definitely did enough to get down there, and then just has to keep spinning. Little risky throwing that ball out there at around the 1-yard line. It popped loose, but by that point it had already crossed the plane. Bickham was the stiff arm, getting inside, and then just extending his body and the ball over the goal line, and it came out well after he'd already crossed.
And here is TH to put on the extra point to give SAGU a 42-20 lead. He gets it up, and it is good. And SAGU again takes control of this game and goes up by 22.
And all thanks to 83 yards on the ground. The law offices of Bickham and Lowry take them the whole way. No need to throw. You got the wind at your back, and you didn't ask C.J. Collins to throw it all. Look at Bickham. Just 5 rushes on the game for 76 yards, 2 touchdowns. Trying to do some quick fuzzy math in my head. That's around a 14.5 yards an average a carry. Bickham has been exactly as advertised as your big play back as he punches it in for the 2nd touchdown there. And yeah, what a combo Lowry and Bickham can be when they are at their best. Lowry on, pounding the ball, making the good decisions, getting around the corners, and then Bickham coming in just so fast, so quick. And the Lions go back up by 22. Just what the doctor ordered after giving up 20 unanswered to close out the 2nd quarter, pushing your lead back to 3 scores.
The kickoff is another deep one over the head of any Howard Payne returner by a good 12 to 13 yards. And that'll be a touchback for the Yellow Jackets. Now, as their offense comes out here, making this a game really in that 2nd quarter, what do you do now to answer back to keep the momentum going for your offense?
I think, what you do is you just say, hey, we were down 35 to nothing. We were down 35 to nothing, and we erased that halfway, and we did it by playing our style. We stayed on the ground. We didn't have to get desperate. You only had the one big throw by Monteith towards the end of the half. So I think you just stay on the ground, and look who it is coming into the game, number 6, Batten. And he was the force to really start this rally. No need to panic yet. You see how long a game can be now. And you have plenty of time to bring this game back.
Kason Monteith hands it off to Batten, and Batten is met by 4 SAGU defenders, and they bring him down. A host of tacklers that time for the Lions defense.
Yeah, you got to split that tackle into a quarter, maybe even a fifth. I saw a 5th Lion come out from that.
Matt Leiter looks to have made initial contact on that one.
And they're going to credit him for half a yard, so that's a lot to give up for half a yard.
Looks like they may have adjusted to that at halftime as he was gashing them earlier in the 2nd quarter. Monteith now sets in motion. Batten to his left, 2 receivers out wide. And he's going to hand it off again to Batten, and there he goes into the linebackers. He's going to get cleaned up for about 5 yards on that carry.
It's Matt Williams coming in with the initial low contact to put him off balance, and then cleaning the job up top. Landon Jones, so another good 2-man gang tackle. 3rd and 5 up at the 30.
3rd and 5, Monteith. 3 receivers out to his left with Batten in the backfield with him. Monteith takes a snap, fakes the handoff. He's looking to throw. He's got to roll out, and there's the Lions defensive line. They bring 5, and 3 of them get to the quarterback.
Darnell Martin is going to get the initial contact. They'll always have to wait for the tape to see if he gets a full sack or half a sack. But Darnell Martin gashing through. I believe that's the 1st sack. They've put a lot of pressure on Monteith throughout this game, but that is the 1st sack that they've got, and they do it the way they have all game, bringing that three or four guys And there was Matt Leiter coming in at the very end. You know he's going to lobby for half a sack. You know he's going to lobby for half a sack in the film room on Monday.
And here is the punt. It almost gets blocked, and it's going to be another short one. Fair catch called for and brought in that time by the SAGU returner, Samuel Northey. And SAGU's got the ball right at about midfield. And could you ask for any better defensive play there by the Lions? 3 and out.
Absolutely not. You stood your ground. You got a couple of good tackles. You didn't let any big plays develop. You get a sack. You push them far enough back that now punting into the wind, the offense starts their drive just over the 50-yard line in Howard Payne territory. And this Yellow Jacket defense now coming back out onto the field. You know, after all you did to get back in this game after being down 35-0, you now face the risk of being dropped right back in another massive hole. C.J. Collins is out to try to dig it.
J.P. Lowry back into the game after the Bickham touchdown. Collins takes the snap and hands it off. Lowry around the edge. And a good job by the Yellow Jackets defense to string that out and negate that for only about 3 yards from Lowry.
And Lowry's the guy you want to string out. If you can find a way to string out Lowry, you're probably going to find a way to beat him to the sideline, as they do here, fighting through blocks the whole way, only resulting in a gain of around 2 or 3. Bickham you can't string out, and that's what keeps the defense on their toes. They have to constantly adapt to how they're playing with these 2 running backs because they're both so good, but they're both so different. There's almost no similarity in their running style.
Collins with Lowry in the backfield still. He's going to hand it off again. Lowry straight up the middle again, running over a defender and picks up 14 or 15 yards to give the Lions a first down. And there he is. That's where he's at his best right there, right up the middle.
Right up the middle where he can just see some daylight, make the right decision. You can pretty much always count on him to make the right decision when he sees a hole. And the Lions, they've just been doing it all on the ground here in the second half. Their only pass was negated by a penalty, so every statistical play of this half has been a run. And why would you do anything else right now? Although maybe you're lulling Howard Payne into a little spot for a play action pass.
And Lowry again up the middle, and he makes a cut to the outside. Dotson down the field with some good blocking, and Lowry gets taken out down at the legs, down to the 6-yard line. J.P. Lowry cutting up this Yellow Jackets defense.
Yeah, that's just right up the middle. He sees his hole, cuts right through the middle, does a good little juke move on the defender in the middle, has gone down to the sideline, tripped up. If you could have found one way to hurdle him, he'd have been in the end zone, but he's down to the 6-yard line, and it is still all on the ground for the Lions. And now Bickham is into the game. So Lowry, after doing the dirty work, Bickham comes in the goal line setup.
James Benson with a good tackle there in the open field on Lowry. Bickham now gets the carry, tries to bounce to the outside. Will he get in again? He will! Ricky Bickham, 3rd touchdown of the game after J.P. Lowry takes him down the field, and Bickham caps it off with a touchdown.
All on the ground. The Lions have absolutely dominated the first 6 minutes and 50 seconds on the ground. That's not a standard Bickham run either. He was fighting the whole way, but I guess it was his style because he was always getting away from the defenders. He's not having to necessarily break the tackles. He's just always getting around the tackles. We do have a Yellow Jacket down in the end zone after the touchdown. But talk about the way this Lions offense has rallied after seeing their 35-0 lead reduced to just 15 in a matter of minutes. They have come out here in the second half. He is on his feet walking out. That is number...
Looks like it's Zach Reed, the sophomore corner.
And now TH is on for the extra point. Chance to make this a 29-point lead, which incidentally was exactly where we were after the first Lions turnover when it was 35-6. And we were all still feeling really good about that. We were all still feeling really good about that 35-6 lead.
Well, the extra point is up, and it is good.
And I misspoke a moment ago. I said C.J. Collins is coming out on the field to try to dig that hole for the Yellow Jackets. He hasn't had to do a thing other than hand it off in this half. And earlier this year, when me and you came out and watched this SAGU Lions scrimmage, we talked about what Lowry and Bickham could be. We talked about just that different running style. It's exactly what you want as an offense, a guy that can ground and pound and wear a defense down, and then another guy that can come in and just outrun everybody. We have seen that on full display here tonight. And any weakness we've seen with the Lions offense, whether it be an interception or a fumble or the fumble on the kick return, we've seen no problems with this running game.
And doing their job, they have kept the Lions defense on the sidelines, giving them much needed rest and giving them fresh legs for this Howard Payne offense that was making good work of them there towards the end of the second quarter. We'll see if they continue to play well after that first initial 3-and-out here in the second half, as the Lions get set to kick it off again. And we expect TH to go ahead and kick it in the end zone one more time, as he's got the wind at his back.
He's good at it. He hasn't had a problem. And yeah, the Yellow Jackets offense, they got their success by just really starting to establish the run, starting to wear the Lions out. So that rest is huge.
Into the end zone. He's going to bring it out 4 yards deep, and he's going to make his way past the 20, fighting past the 25. So a good decision to bring it out as he nets 1 yard. And he's going to go ahead and give essentially the Yellow Jackets better field position.
Melvin Thompson has done a pretty good job coming out of the end zone every time. He has not been brought up short of the 25 by much, maybe by 1 or 2. Looking at some stats we just got here. The first half, the Lions had 62 rushing yards. In the second half, they've had 131. 131 rushing yards.
In 7 minutes.
Yes, that's I know some people who can't run 130 yards in 7 minutes.
Monteith to take the snap now. He's going to hand it off, and the first carry of the game for LaMarcus Harmon is going to pick up about 4 yards on that carry as they ran a little draw action for the first play.
And talk about the way the pressure has shifted with the Lions coming into the second half, feeling the Yellow Jackets on their heels. Now with Howard Payne, you look back up at that clock, and we talk about the clock always seems to get longer or shorter compared to what the score is. And now 22 minutes seems like a pretty short clock when you got 29 points to make up, and you're stuck sticking on the ground.
Another run here for the Yellow Jackets, and that one is stuffed by, again, a host of Lions swarming to the ball.
Landon Jones is not going to get credit for this tackle, but he is the one that caused it. He shoots up the middle, creates the initial impact, holds the running back up, and that's what lets everybody else get to him. You see Landon Collins right here, shooting the gap in the middle, making that contact, knocking him into the other 3 defenders. So he gets no credit for the tackle, but he shoved him into harm's way to set up this 3rd and 5.
We see it.
That's all that matters. He's the only name that got called on this play. The 3 guys that tackled him didn't.
Monteith facing a 3rd and 5 now. And he's going to roll out to his left. He's going to keep it. It's going to be a designed run. Can the Lions string it out? They can. Great tackle by Elijah Pruitt to actually lose a yard on the run by Monteith.
Monteith goes to the long side of the field. Thinks he's going to have plenty of daylight, but Elijah Pruitt reading it the whole way, stripping him up just before the sideline. Pruitt's going to come in from the top of your screen here, and that wasn't even close.
And another 3-and-out for this Lions defense, and they are stepping up to the task here in the second half, as the Yellow Jackets will be forced to punt again. Back to return for the Lions, Samuel Northey and Malik Golden.
Timeout, Yellow Jackets. They couldn't get it set in time for the punt. And the Lions defense has been solid all night. They gave up the one long drive that resulted in a field goal, and then at the very end of the first half, when everything was going wrong, they allowed themselves to get burned on that Monteith touchdown pass. But that was guys that couldn't get out of their own way. That's when you're panicking in your head, you're thinking what can go wrong next. Look at the 3rd down comparison. The Lions have only faced 3 third downs on the game. That's a credit to some 1st and 2nd down dominance right there, and they've converted 2 of the 3. They've only had 1 punt. They've had 2 turnovers and 1 punt. Meanwhile, Howard Payne struggling at just 3 for 11 on 3rd down conversions. Unable to stay on the field for much of the night outside of those final 6 or 7 minutes of the second quarter when everything was going their way, but now the tables have turned dramatically.
Howard Payne set up to punt here, dribbles it back, and it gets it off, and it's going to be a fair catch called for and brought in by Worthy at about the 46-yard line, 46-yard line.
And you know what? It really looked like Malik Golden had a very good chance of blocking that, but probably a good decision not to. You're up by 29. You're about to force a 3 and out. You're pretty much guaranteed some form of good field position. Yeah, you can make a huge play here, but you know what? Just hold off. Hold off. Let the punt happen. Don't risk roughing the punter, giving them a fresh set of downs. A fresh set of downs is what salvaged one of the drives. When they looked at the Lions and forced a fourth down, it was a defensive holding that kept the drive alive for the Yellow Jackets. So a good bit of restraint by Golden there not to sell out for the big play.
Collins hands it off to Lowry. Lowry's going to plow his way forward for about 6 yards, but a flag comes flying in there. It looks like it may be holding. And that is going to be the call by the head official.
And I wish I had started keeping track after that first Collins throw that was also negated by a holding call. How many consecutive runs have we seen from the Lions now? It's got to be 11 or 12. It can't be too many because they've gone down the field so fast. So maybe it is more 8 and 9. But they are staying on the ground. And that's also been huge because you've now erased 9 minutes out of this quarter. And
there you see a score update. Wayland Baptist beating Louisiana College. Almost the same scores we're seeing here in Lumpkins, 45-20.
And that's one of those teams that was ranked just ahead of SAGU in the preseason rankings. So that's a key team you'll keep your eyes on and look forward to that matchup later this year.
Collins going to throw it now. He finds his man in the middle after play action. And Donovan Jean just running through defenders as he breaks about 2-3 tackles on one play.
The yards after catch. Well, obviously, you factor in the yards after catch from Roderick Brown, and you've got tons and tons. But every Lions receiver has done a very good job. Just a nice little dump off over the middle. Looks to be a gain of 4 or 5, and just fighting his way. He's got a guy hanging on to his belt, 2 guys in front of him, still fighting forward, 2nd and 7.
Good play call there to get the yardage back. Lost off that holding call.
And Collins had to throw.
And now Collins now off the play action is going to throw deep. He's got a man. It's Justin Allen. Can't bring it in. Justin Allen with nobody in front of him. Can't bring in the C.J. Collins pass.
And that would have been a tough one. It's going to go down as a drop, but that was a tough one. He was dropping it over his shoulder. Kind of a Willie Mays style catch there with his back to the quarterback. He's hitting his helmet saying, come on, Allen, I had that. That's going to be a touchdown. Very frustrated with himself, but it really would have been a pretty impressive catch had he made it with the position that he was in. SAGU almost breaking another huge throw as it is 3rd and 7 now. Just on their side of midfield, the 48-yard line, trying to keep this drive alive and the momentum alive here in the second half.
Collins now, the play fake, back to pass. Good protection down the seam in the middle, and we're going to get a defensive holding. He was looking for Jeremy Carr. Probably would have had him had there not been a defensive holding there.
Yeah, defensive holding or legal contact. Either way, it's going to be a Lions first down. It's just a little bit too much contact over the middle.
That's what it's going to be. Illegal contact down the middle of the field is going to give the Lions an automatic first down.
The call is going to come on Austin Kilgore, I believe. Is he just a little too much touching, a little bit too much grabbing, and I do think it would have been a catch. It's not necessarily one of those where it wouldn't have resulted in anything. Over the middle, the contact would have taken place before that, but you could definitely tell that Dotson was a step or two behind where he should have been. As a result, the Lions moved the ball down to the 37-yard line. Another big penalty. It feels like every penalty has just become at a crucial 3rd down or erased a touchdown in this game.
Collins back to throw again. He pump fakes. Dotson's open, and he drops the ball. Brian Dotson had a short touchdown. Collins puts it on the money and just lost it.
That is 99% of a beautiful play. It felt like it was designed. If it wasn't, it was even more beautiful. Collins with the pump fake, freezing the corner out there, and then just dropping it in. Oh, perfect pass. Corners falling down.
You have to convert on a play call like that.
Elijah Washington needs to write a thank you note because he got froze on that pump fake, then falls down trying to recover. Dotson's about to walk in for a touchdown, and he just drops it.
2nd and 10. Collins is going to hand it off to Lowry. Hopefully he can get some yardage here, and he does. Stays on his feet and gets 15 after the drop pass by Dotson. Lowry is going to go ahead and put the team on his back.
This is just a case of try it 5 times in a row. Once it doesn't work the 6th, go to the other thing. They run, finally get a holding call. So they throw, have a drop pass. So they run again right up the middle down to the 22-yard line. Lions having their way in the 3rd quarter. Feels a lot like the 1st quarter again.
1st and 10. Collins is going to hand it off again. Lowry stuffed this time. Only they're going to call it maybe a gain of 1 on that carry by Lowry. The shortest carry of the 2nd half for JP.
Just for the record, they're going towards the west end zone right now, and the wind is at their back. But if you're at home, it's not a 100-mile-an-hour wind. I know everyone's been scoring going this direction the whole game. It's not enough of a wind to justify the turns we have seen in this game. Usually talk about a tale of 2 halves. This is now a tale of 3 quarters. The 1st quarter, the 2nd quarter, and the 3rd quarter have felt like 3 separate games.
Collins, shotgun now with Lowry to his right. 2nd and 8. They're going to give him 2 yards in that carry. Back to pass. He's going to get it. Try to get it to the middle of the field. Took a little too long, looking for Roderick Brown Jr., and the defensive back was just able to break on it.
Yeah, that's a very good break by number 27 for the Yellow Jackets. Does a good job breaking it over. Open, and that is Colton Dickerson, who comes in over the top, breaks up that pass. Would have been right around the 1st down marker. Would have been very close.
SAGU has been able to convert on 3rd downs this drive, whether it's been by way of penalty or actual yardage. We'll see if they can continue that. Lowry to the back, or sorry, Bickham in the backfield. Collins back to pass, has time, looking in the middle, and brought in by Roderick Brown Jr. Snags that one and gives the Lions 1st down yardage.
And Dotson is streaking over the top here towards the end zone. That causes the defenders to keep looking over their shoulder because they know what Dotson can do to them. They're looking over, and that creates just enough room for Roderick Brown to drop back inside underneath the safety there. Underneath the linebacker, Austin Kilgore. Picks up the big 3rd down. Lions continue this drive inside the 5.
Collins looking for a screen, and Roderick Brown drops it.
And that's the 3rd drop on this drive for the Lions. The first one with Allen would have been a tough one, but it's definitely, when it hits in your hands, it's a drop. That's the 3rd drop, and all of them would have probably resulted in touchdowns, as the one defender was very well covered. He might have been able to break 1 tackle and make it to the end zone, but it brings up a 2nd and goal.
That play looked maybe like it was a little busted from the start. Never know what can happen after the catch, especially with Roderick Brown, but maybe fortunate for the Lions that it was dropped instead of being down at the 9 or 10 yard line. They're still at the 5. Collins still in the shotgun. Justin Allen and Brown to his right. He's going to hand it off. Here's Lowry. Lowry looking for his own touchdown. He keeps fighting forward, not going to get there. Down at the 4 for 1 yard, and that brings up 3rd and goal.
Yeah, Lowry, with all he's done, he still hasn't scored in this game.
And they're bringing in the heavies here. Matt Leiter comes into the game for the Lions, a defensive lineman, as well as Luke McBride as an extra offensive lineman.
Now, do you think they're ever looking for Matt Leiter to get a touchdown in these situations?
Well, if you remember last season in the last game, Ethan Eastwood, who wore number 7, got a couple carries in the last game. So we'll see what they do with Leiter. The way he's positioned, I won't think so, but we'll see what they do here. They're going to throw it up this time for Jeremy Carr, but they're going to get a defensive penalty. It looks like as some hand fighting was going on there.
Let's see what the ruling is. That could have also been an offensive pass interference. Everyone's kind of standing still, and it's going to be a hold on the defense. Another penalty on 3rd and goal. You're about to get the Lions to trot out the field goal unit instead, and you do see he kind of gets a hold of the right shoulder. So it's kind of in between whether it's going to be a hold or pass interference. This close, it doesn't really matter. Not really a great penalty because the ball was thrown behind him. I don't think he was going to be able to corral the ball in, whether he held or not. But another penalty saves the Lions. It's now 1st and goal at the 2. Leiter's still in the front. Lowry's right behind him. I think we might know what the Lions want to do in this situation. Let's see if they do it.
And they are going to run it. Lowry into the end zone for the touchdown. Untouched, and SAGU, barring an extra point, is going to go up 56-20.
And yeah, look at Leiter, just nails the defender, not a chance. Just runs right over Colton Dickerson, knocking him out of the way. Lowry, not a single problem walking in. I tell you, these running backs have had some great runs out in the open field, but their touchdowns have mostly been walk-ins thanks to this offensive line and the blocking. Now, here's something I didn't expect to say. As this extra point is up and good, the Lions have their largest lead of the night.
36 points?
I could not imagine, after they blew a 35-point lead and made it 35-20, that I would be ever saying that their lead was larger than it was before, but they have dominated this second half thus far, almost entirely on the running, in the running game. Some throws on that drive. C.J. Collins looking great. Receivers mostly looking great. A couple of great catches, 3 not great drops. But when you've got a running game in there with what Lowry and Bickham's been able to do, primarily Lowry. Bickham's been cleanup duty, coming in, getting some great touchdowns, had some good runs, I believe, on the first drive particularly. But it's mostly been J.P. Lowry up until this point. So with just over 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter, the Lions have now safely pushed their lead back out to 36. You feel a lot better about a 36-point lead with 17 minutes left in the game than that 35-point lead with 37 minutes left in the game.
Especially the way the Lions defense has been playing. It seems like the Lions offense has been on the field this entire third quarter with just a little bit over 2 minutes to play. The Lions dominating this third quarter. And the kick is going to be a little line drive and see if it stays in bounds. It does. Fielded at the 1-yard line. Cutting it back towards the middle. Missed tackle by the Lions. We'll see if they can corral it in, and they will, and he's going to end up getting tackled and drugged down at the 10-yard line.
And that's the first time that Melvin Thompson just hasn't been able to find a way to get back up to 25. Very different play in that situation where he's having to pick the ball up at his own 2 and try to make it out. And now the Yellow Jackets already struggling so hard here in the second half. He keeps it alive for a long ways. It's one of those situations you might want to just cut it up at the 15 and keep it there instead of fighting back and losing it all the way back to the 9. But you struggle in the second half so much, and now you're stuck at your own 10-yard line.
Back to pass. He hits a little screen, and he's going to get 7 out of it. Not a bad first play here for Kason Monteith and the Howard Payne offense, as it looks like he's joined in the backfield again by Kadrion Latson.
And now you will have to go more to the passing game if you want to try to find a way to, I mean, you've already done it once. You've already done it once, turned what seemed to be an impossible cause into a somewhat competitive ball game. But at this point, you can't do it on the ground for too much longer.
And here is Latson trying to get something going. He's swallowed up for a yard loss there. That's going to be 3rd and about 4 here for the Yellow Jackets offense.
It's Jordan Coleman coming in over the top, making the strong tackle. Another 3rd down where the Yellow Jackets have really struggled mightily all game, and obviously 0 for 2 here in the second half. Still looking for their first down, I believe, of the second half.
Back to pass is Monteith looking over to his left, and the pass is dropped this time. He had his man Tariq Gray, and it looks like the Yellow Jackets offense is going to stay on the field and face the 4th and 5.
You're down. Oh, no, now they're going to opt for the punt. Yeah, you think about it. You definitely think about it, but if you fail to do it, then this game gets really out of hand. Tariq Gray, that's just so indicative of a wide receiver. At the end of the first half, we see him make this amazing catch in triple coverage, going over his head, diving backwards, stunning touchdown catch, and then you drop one in the flat. That's just the life of a wide receiver. 1 minute one minute you're Terrell Owens in the end zone, and the next it's just a little rough.
Worthy back to return the kick, and he's going to call for a fair catch and bring it in.
Almost a little bit of fair catch interference, but they're not going to whistle it just because I don't think the defender knew that it was going to be that close. The Lions offense will again take over.
37-yard line.
Yeah, in Howard Payne territory. They have taken over at around the 50 or into Howard Payne territory, I believe 4 times in this game, maybe 5. So they really have a lot to credit their defense for, especially here in this second half. I mean, it's been a perfect game here in the second half so far. It has been an absolutely perfect game. SAGU's defense absolutely shutting Howard Payne down, forcing 3 punts. And so far, SAGU's offense has just looked unstoppable with this dual threat of Collins. And
almost intercepted as Collins was looking for his man to his left. That was Zach Johnson, the freshman from Temple, Texas.
Jordan Smith almost gets the interception. He intercepted my thought, too. Here I was, nothing but compliments, and he almost turned that right around on me. If he could have picked that off and kept his feet, that is definitely a pick 6.
2nd and 10 here for the Lions as we see Ricky Bickham in the backfield now with C.J. Collins. Derek Shelby in the backfield now as the H-back. We'll see what he does in the run game. Collins going to fake the handoff, and he's looking deep. He's got a man. That's Jeremy Carr. Can he pull it in? He cannot. Justin Allen looked like he was there as a little bit of backup.
It almost looked like, you know, when a left fielder kind of plays, you know, safety to the center fielder, the ball was almost overthrown just enough over Carr's head that Allen almost had a shot at it.
It's going to bring up a 3rd and 10 for this Lions offense. Let's see if they can keep these chains moving. They've done it very well here in the 3rd quarter. Bickham in the backfield with Collins. 2 wide to his right, 1 to his left. 30 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter. Collins back to pass, and he's going to be swallowed up. And that's going to be a sack for the Yellow Jackets defense, and they get out of it. They get their own 3 and out here.
Austin Kilgore kind of got the initial pressure, probably going to get at least half a sack on that as he knocked Collins off his feet with the initial hit. And yeah, after taking over with great field position, solid stand by the Yellow Jackets to prevent the Lions from getting any more points.
And we should see that as the end of the 3rd quarter. As we head to the 4th.
A quarter where the Lions outscore the Yellow Jackets 21-0.
And right now we've got something special for you right now from our field reporter, Kristen. Kristen, what do you got for us?
Thanks, Adam. Coach Jill, you're the new head men's basketball coach here at SAGU. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you here.
I'm from the DFW area, so this is kind of a homecoming for me. I used to coach at Bethesda Christian School in North Fort Worth, but the last 7 years I've been in York College in Nebraska, and this is really just a God thing. You know, Coach Godding was on his way actually to my small town, Nebraska, whenever I had first interviewed for the job. So, you know, I just feel like the Lord led me here, and I'm excited for the things that God has planned for us here.
What's your outlook on the upcoming season?
I'm extremely excited about this group of guys. You know, their character is really high, their work ethic's really high, and a lot of talent. So we have a good mix of returners and new guys, and I think that you'll see an exciting brand of basketball here from SAGU.
Thanks for taking the time, Coach Jill. Back to you, Adam.
Thank you, Kristen. And there you see the new head coach of SAGU men's basketball.
Taking over a program that has been really hot lately. 4 straight NAIA tournaments, am I correct? NAIA national tournaments, I believe it's 4 straight. It's great that you lose count. That's how you know you're a good team, when you start losing count. The punt is away here, kind of an awkward, might have been half blocked. Either way, it's going to roll up to about the 38-yard line. Looking at some player stats as we start the 4th quarter. J.P. Lowry, 14 carries for 141 yards. And it feels like almost all of it came in that 3rd quarter. 2 touchdowns for him. Ricky Bickham, 5 carries, 85 yards. That's a 17 yards a carry average. That's just absolutely amazing. C.J. Collins, 10 completions out of 20 attempts, so he's 50%. With 2 touchdowns. Roderick Brown leads the team in receiving right now with 98 yards and a touchdown. Obviously had the 43-yard long catch with the catch and run for the touchdown. So Lions offense with a bunch of standout players tonight.
Here's Hunter Batson. He's going to roll his way down for a 1st down. Needed 10, got 10.5.
I guess it's the 4th quarter, so I suppose it's now HPU's turn to take over again. You know, it was the 1st quarter was all SAGU, the 2nd quarter was almost all HPU, and then the 3rd quarter was all SAGU.
And we do have a SAGU player down. It looks like Landon Jones, the fantastic sophomore linebacker, may have tweak something on that play.
And just kind of stay on his back now. We've seen a couple of Lions players go down this game now. Obviously, especially at this point in the game where you have to feel really confident about a 36-point lead in the fourth quarter. Your number one priority, while still hanging on to this win, most importantly, has got to be keeping players healthy at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see some alternates come in as the quarter ticks on and what appears to be a SAGU victory stays. You know, you can lock it up in the next drive or two and give the backups some playing time.
1st and 10 here for the Yellow Jackets, and here's Batten again falling forward for about 8 yards. And here is Hunter Batten again making his way through the Lions defense.
Another Lion down.
Looks to be Keelan Rushing, number 97, down now for the Lions.
He's going to get up, limping. Keeping that right leg off the ground as he essentially hops left-footed all the way to the bench, takes a seat immediately.
2nd and about 3 here for the Yellow Jackets as they've been moving the ball down the field again. 2 straight rushing plays from Batten, net about 17 yards total.
He's had his real moments in this game. Hunter Batten, when he comes in and starts rolling strong, he's a powerful running back for the Yellow Jackets.
The quarterback, Monteith is going to take it to the teeth of the defense, throwing a stiff arm at Kobe Roach, but he's going to take it down all the way to the 4-yard line, called his own number and kept it.
Very reminiscent of in the second quarter when they had the fake pitch out to Batten, and he was able to pick up a couple yards. This time it's the fake handoff to Batten. He cuts to the outside, down to the 5.
Hand off to Batten, fighting his way to the end zone, going to get down to about the, we'll call it 2.5-yard line, as it's going to bring up a 2nd and goal.
And maybe this field is just tilted this way because whoever takes over going this way just starts rolling.
And here's a snap and a hand off the Batten again. Swallowed up, no gain. Down to the 2-yard line. 3rd and goal now for the Yellow Jacket offense.
Coming in with the primary tackle on that is Marcus Rodriguez. As the Lions have now, on back-to-back plays, stuffed Batten, and now Batten is going to check out of the game. As the initial burst he gave them has now faded as they get close to the end zone. 3rd and goal at the 2.5.
Brett Martinez into the game now. Bad snap and is bobbled. Picked up by Martinez, and he cannot get there. Down at about the 1/2-yard line.
And if that had been properly handled, I think that's a touchdown. They had the corner sealed off, and it was in the time they had to wait that I believe the Lions were able to get a little bit more loose and shut it down.
4th and 1 here from the 1-yard line. We'll see if the Yellow Jackets can get it in the end zone.
This feels pretty close to the ballgame. If there's any last chance of a miracle comeback for Howard Payne, it has to start with a touchdown here.
Monteith going to run it to the right, and he's going to get in easily as he sneaks his way in from the 1. And this is going to give Howard Payne 27, barring the extra point here.
Smart setup here, putting 3 men out top. That creates the space he needed to find the hole. Just waltzes in after really setting the drive up on his scramble down to around the 5-yard line. So Kason Monteith walks it in, and the Yellow Jackets with a chance to cut it back to a 29-point game, barring the extra point. And you got to be thinking onside kicks coming up here, things along those matters.
It could get exciting here. The extra point is up and it's good. 56-27 now the score here at Lumpkin Stadium.
So a quick scoring recap. The Lions in the first quarter go, the box score, 28-0 first quarter. The Yellow Jackets in the second, 20-7. Now the Lions 21-0 and now 7-0 for Yellow Jackets. We have a score update here. And wow, we just keep almost matching this game, I feel like. Wayland Baptist leading Louisiana College in the closing almost 59-20. The Wayland Baptist Pioneers looking to move to 1-0, almost assured to move to 1-0 on the season now. Playing at Louisiana College. The Lions leading 56-27 here. Hopefully can just salt this one away in the closing 12.5 minutes and move to 1-0 along with what we already have seen today with Langston and Wayland Baptist here in the CSFL.
Not bad for a first place tie after week 1.
Of course, all that really matters when you start that conference schedule. And it's exciting this year because that conference schedule starts early this year because this conference is now stacked with teams.
Interesting kickoff formation here. We'll see what they do. And they're going to go ahead and pooch it. And here is the SAGU return man looking to get that edge. That is Malik Gordon. And he's going to get it past the 40, or Malik Golden, rather, past the 40. An interesting return there. It kind of just felt drawn out.
Yeah, he never really had to make a move. The Lions did a good job sealing the initial rush. Just kind of ran on a straight line towards the sideline, and little block on the outside, but then just kind of walks out of bounds. He's going to get marked to 39. Thought he might have got a little further than that, but the Lions aren't going to quibble over 1 or 2 yards right now.
Collins comes back, still in the game with J.P. Lowry. It doesn't feel like the game is too far gone yet to put in the backups. If they score here, we could very well see some second-string guys on the next offensive series.
Again,
Lowry.
Because of what we saw earlier, you definitely can't think that.
Lowry breaking free. First play is going to rip off a 20-yard gain. And there, J.P. Lowry, he's trying to get over the 200-yard mark for the day.
And he has just owned this second half. From the moment they started handing the ball off to him on the first drive, he has just been churning on every handoff. The only handoff he got that didn't technically net yards was on a holding call. He has just dominated here in the second half. And like I said, closing in on the 200-yard marker, very good chance he gets it.
Lowry again, straight up the middle. This one's going to be about 4, maybe 5 yards on the carry. Going to bring up a second and 6 here for the Lions offense.
And the clock stays moving as SAGU looks to salt this one away. Most importantly, I don't even want to say it. Don't even want to say the dreaded word and jinx it. I kind of jinxed it at the end of the first half there. I won't even say it. I won't even say what could make this a game right now.
Lowry running roughshod behind this newly formed offensive line, which includes last year's center, Devo McNeil, moving over to the guard position. He dropped 30 pounds over the summer, and from what I'm told, is the most athletic lineman on the team. Collins now back to pass, is going to look for Donovan Jean. He hauls it in. We're going to get some flags thrown in towards the end of the play. And we'll see what they call.
Another holding call. The Lions have had a number of holding calls here in the second half, but have found a way to overcome every single one of them thus far.
And that's going to be on all-conference left tackle Devin Petty, the rare holding call.
Move the Lions back 10 and set up about a 2nd and 16 at the 45. And it just looks like a little bit of a free break from the outside, cutting in from the other side. When you come from both sides like that, someone's usually going to end up getting called for holding as they try to protect their quarterback.
Going to be 2nd and 16 here for the Lions. They may just run the ball here. JP can get that in one carry. And they're going to play action. They're going to look deep. Collins floating it for Jean. And he's going to bring it in. A fine catch by Donovan Jean to get back to about 3rd and 8 here.
Draped by Austin Kilgore. Has to go up high and just kind of pull it in. Got to have strong hands to hang on to the ball in that situation. Collins, good throw under pressure. Had a blitzer coming right into his face. Just had enough finesse to drop the ball in there. Set up a much more manageable 3rd down at the 37-yard line. Lions have been very fortunate on 3rd downs here in this second half, whether it's picking them up or drawing penalties. And they'll try to keep this drive alive on another 3rd down.
3rd and 8, Collins with Lowry to his right. He's going to take the snap, fake the handoff, look to pass. Good block by Lowry. Down the seam, he's got his man Brown. Does he have another one? And it's a foot race, and he's in. Roderick Brown Jr., the yards after the catch. Again, the Lions score.
That was a bit easier yards after the catch than the last one he had, but he just runs what appears to be just a little bit of a slant route right to the middle of the field. Runs right by his man and walks into the end zone. It was number 28.
Lawrence Smith, just a foot race.
Yeah, Lawrence Smith who's had some problems getting burned over the middle in this game, and there's another one. Now on for his 9th extra point of the night.
Can he go 9 for 9? TH, new kicker for the Lions. It's up, and it is good. And Tim, believe it or not, the first touchdown we've seen at this end of the stadium all night.
Well, the Lions had one in the first half, and then the second quarter, the deep bomb to Carr at the beginning of the second quarter, I believe. Roderick Brown, look at that, 6 receptions, 135 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
With all the holding penalties, I thought that one was called back, but you are right. Carr did have that one. With everything that's gone on, I figured that would have been called back.
Well, I mean, we're looking at a game in which, let's see, have we had it yet? No, we had 90 points scored. It's easy to forget a touchdown. Typically, touchdowns stand out to you in a game like this. Look at the Lions, 5 rushing touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns. It's, like I said, every time something stops working, they just try the next thing and it starts working again. Every time the Yellow Jackets have found an answer, the Lions have, outside of that 6-minute segment where everything, the wheels just came off, and all credit to the Lions here in this second half after it looked like you were in major danger of witnessing a borderline historic comeback here at Lumpkin Stadium to be able to rally. And now with 10 minutes left in the ball game, you're now safely back in the lead by 36 points. And you've gone over 60 points. I'm trying to think the last time the Lions went over 60 in a game.
Uh-oh,
That's a free ball.
bounce. And it looks like it is going to be gobbled up by Howard Payne. Not much more you can ask of a kicker there. Kind of landed in between the guys with that kind of backspin.
He's done a good job on these kicks into the wind of, obviously not trying to punch it deep. There's no point. The wind's going to catch it. Just drop it short, see what can happen. The Lions' highest scoring game last year was 57 points. The closing ball game against Texas College, they put up 57 points in that ball game, but they did not top 60 last year, and now they've done it in the very first game.
New quarterback for the Yellow Jackets, going to be Claude Rogers in the game. In the first play, he takes it in a design quarterback run, takes off to the right, flag on the play, brought down that time by number 37, Terrell Edwards. And we're going to get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on the Lions. As you see there at the end of the play.
Yeah, just some extra pushing and shoving on both sides happening there a little bit. Hard to kind of tell from that vantage point what might have happened to justify the penalty, but it's been a long night. Everyone's maybe nerves a little bit too frayed, but you obviously want to keep it calm because you want to stay injury-free, and you want to stay potentially suspension-free. Don't do anything stupid. Don't say anything stupid. You got a ball game next Saturday to worry about. And now that you pretty much got this one in your back pocket, just let whatever happens, happens, and walk away from it.
Rogers now in the backfield, and we're going to get a false start on the Yellow Jackets. That's going to take them back 5, making it 1st and 15 now from the 42-yard line.
As we've seen the Yellow Jackets put their backups in, I would imagine we're more than likely to see the Lions do the same when they come back out onto the field. So unfortunately, J.P. Lowry is currently 33 yards short of 200. So our chances of seeing 200 have definitely dipped at this point.
A run to the outside here. The Lions can't string it out. He's going to head up the sidelines, and he's going to say he's ruled out of bounds at the 46, 47-yard line. That was Melvin Thompson, it looked like, on the reverse. And I can already see the backup quarterback for SAGU, Ty Francis, warming up on the sideline. So it looks like he may come into the game on the next offensive series by the Lions.
This is a good time. I mean, early on in the season, go ahead and get some playing experience in. Unfortunately, by the nature of football, players will go down over the next 9 games for both of these teams. So no time like the present to get some experience.
Here's Rogers running to the outside. He's got some speed and gets out past the 35. And another flag here at the end of the play. Are they going to say that he was hit late out of bounds? Let's see what happens here.
That would feel like a pretty, we'll see what the call, I don't want to prejudge before I see the call. And they are going to tack on 15 more yards on that. Didn't feel like there was nearly enough contact to justify that. But I suppose if you're the official at this point and you are working a game that is clearly out of hand, ball game's basically over, you want to quickly enforce the fact, hey, no, none of this, no fighting, nothing like that. If you enforce that, you'll probably get the guys to not do anything really stupid.
Direct snap to Martinez, and he's brought down. Good open field tackle by Michael Mast.
Michael Mast does a really good job, kind of coming from behind. Looked like he might have been beat all the way to the corner. Kind of not really a shoestring tackle, getting a hold of, on the replay, thought he might have hit him higher on the legs. It really was a shoestring tackle. So very strong tackle by Mast as he steps into the game here as we get closer to the halfway mark here in the fourth quarter. No hurry up in the Yellow Jackets at all at this point, as it's just a matter of trying to make the scoreboard look a little bit better and give these backups some quality playing time.
And another whistle, maybe a false start again against the Yellow Jackets. It's going to make it 2nd and 14.
And that is going to be the Yellow Jackets' 10th penalty on the game. The Lions have 11. So if you're Coach Tristan and you want to fix some things up, obviously you can freeze frame the end of the second quarter and point out all things you did wrong there. And the Lions have committed 11 penalties tonight, so that has to be shaped up also.
And handoff is stuffed. The Lions defense coming up big here. That looked like it was
Edwards.
Yep, making a good stop there for the Lions.
Luckily for the Lions, the guys who have committed those penalties, almost all of them have been overcome, especially here in the second half. The Lions have found a way to overcome pretty much every penalty that was committed with some solid offensive play.
3rd and 15 now. Again, no urgency being shown by this Yellow Jackets offense. They're just going to run their thing here with their second stringers as Hunter Batten is in the game alongside Claude Rogers. And he's going to step back to pass and take off. Design quarterback run. Can he get the first down yardage? He can. It looks like he's going to be just short. That is inches short of the first down. And you expect them to go for it here. 4th and inches.
Yeah, they will keep, not even a second thought, keep the offense out on the field. Yeah, almost had enough to finish that off, but yeah, it's going to be 4th and 1. The Yellow Jackets converted their only other 4th down attempt of the game down around the goal line when Monteith took it into the end zone. That was earlier in the fourth quarter.
Here is Rogers in the shotgun with Batten to his left. 2 receivers out wide. He's going to take it himself, and it looks like he's going to get the yardage and then a little bit more. He needed a couple inches. He got 3 yards, and that's going to bring up a new fresh set of downs for the Howard Payne offense.
So now if you're the Lions, you know, you got this one in the back pocket. You kind of start looking ahead. Obviously, no one's looking ahead on next week on the sideline yet, but we can start kind of looking ahead to next week and who will be coming into town, and it is East Texas Baptist University out of the same conference as these Howard Payne Yellow Jackets. As
Batten takes the carry, and it's going to be a 1-yard gain there for Batten.
He's been one of the biggest bright spots of this offense tonight. He's really kept pushing it. As you see, that'll be next Saturday, September 9th at 7 o'clock. A little chance for revenge for the Lions, because that was the game when everything went wrong, when you were in an absolute offensive shootout through the first 2 quarters. C.J. Collins goes down. The offense stalls. The wheels totally came off on that one. And if you think this is a high-scoring game, well, that one ended up with East Texas Baptist with even more points than this, as this is going to be fought all the way to the end zone. Touchdown, number 34, Kevin Best, freshman out of Austin, Texas, as he will push it across for the touchdown, and chance for the Yellow Jackets to cut the lead back down under 30 with the extra point. But yeah, East Texas Baptist ended up putting up 85 points that night. You lost your starting quarterback for the year. We're never able to fully recover after that. So You got a big challenge coming in next week.
You're talking basketball, right? 85 points.
You know what? I've watched a lot of NAIA basketball games. That's high scoring for NAIA basketball. It's a real defensive focus. We got some score updates around other SAGU sports. SAGU volleyball beating Our Lady Lake 3-1, falling to Huston Tillotson in 5. I bet you that was a thriller. Anytime it goes to 5, it's a thriller. SAGU volleyball putting together a great year so far.
Coach Hank Moore, head coach of the women's volleyball team, says this is the best start of his career. And he's been coaching here for, I think, 17 years.
And there's some banners hanging up in the Schaefer Center, so we know how much of a career that's been.
This is a special team, this women's volleyball team. I am
really
excited to call some of their action.
Hey, they play some thrilling volleyball. If you've never actually watched volleyball like competitively and you're not, this is a good place to start because you are not only going to see some great volleyball, the games are almost always thrilling. I felt like years we would watch, every game would somehow be 34-32. They'd just keep on going past the designated finish line typically and go to 4 or 5 sets pretty regularly. So a lot of excitement out on the volleyball court at the Schaefer Center right now.
SAGU returns the kick. It's out past the 25 to about the 30. Tiptoes a little bit further down the line. That is number 84, Zach Johnson, freshman wide receiver from Temple, Texas, able to get it out.
I want to give a correction on there. The touchdown for Howard Payne was actually Garrett Weaver on the touchdown, freshman out of Seguin, Texas. So quick correction on that. Sorry, Mr. Weaver. Congratulations on the touchdown.
And here we see the backup quarterback for the SAGU Lions take the field, number 12, Ty Francis, freshman quarterback from Waco, Texas. And we've got a new running back in the backfield as well, and Michael Bledsoe, another freshman from Tyler.
So 2 freshmen as your battery right now for the Lions.
And he's going to keep it himself and take it around the edge, and he's got some space. We're going to get looks like a holding call out there on the receiver.
That's one of those holding calls where you have 3 flags in the play. Every ref in the vicinity saw that one and decided, you know what, we haven't thrown nearly enough flags this game. I think we've only thrown 23. If you include the ones that have been declined, probably close to 30. Let's all throw it one more time. They're all going to have ice on their shoulders after this one.
Gabriel Pascal is going to get caught with that holding penalty out on the outside.
And that was, yeah, that's one of the more obvious ones. You're not going to get offensive linemen get away with it. Wide receivers do not get away with it.
They're out on an island. You're going to see that. Yep.
It does not happen.
1st and 15 now as it happened downfield from the 37. Francis back. He's going to hand it off. And trying to fight forward was Michael Bledsoe, but he's going to be wrapped up after about a 2-3 yard gain.
Bledsoe, this is a good chance to get some reps in because you already have a 2 running back system. So as a 3rd string running back, you're not going to see nearly as much action when you've got 2 guys that are regularly in the game like that. This is a good time to get some sea legs underneath you in case you're ever needed later on in the season.
Show the coaches what you can do here.
Especially as a freshman since you're behind 2 seniors.
Francis trying to keep it, and he's going to be strung out and lose a ton of yards here. He's going to lose about 4 on that play alone. Back to the 25, and a flag comes out late. We'll see what this call is.
Probably, I mean, in the vicinity of what might be a personal foul or unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. And the way the Yellow Jackets are marching, it looks like they're expecting it to come their way.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
It is unsportsmanlike conduct. I thought I saw one of the side judges point towards the bench, so
maybe some jawing on the sidelines.
Maybe something that should have best been kept inside the head towards the sideline there, and it give the Lions a free 1st down. So I haven't kept track of the Lions' 1st downs through penalties, but it's definitely been more than Howard Payne wants to give up. And that one, obviously, while not devastating in a game that's basically been put away here in the closing moments, that's not one you want to have. After getting a big play, stringing them out for a big loss, setting up a long 3rd down, not a smart move.
Hand off to Bledsoe, fighting his way up. He's going to get about 3 yards, maybe 4. on that carry. 3.5, we'll call it 3.5, bring up 2nd and 7.
Lions with 236 rushing yards tonight. So just been able to control it on the ground. 255 passing yards with a lot of big plays. A lot of big plays supporting those 255 passing yards.
Francis to hand it off again. Here's Bledsoe, runs into the back of his blockers, but he's going to keep fighting forward and moving the pile. He moves the pile about 2 yards further than where he got stopped. They're going to make it about 3rd and 2 here for the Lions if they can keep it going.
Yeah, Bledsoe, like I said, just gets surrounded. You can no longer see him, but everybody's still fighting forward. That's a team effort. And we're going to give the tackle, just for the fun of it, to Travis Fulmer.
Francis takes the low snap, hands it off to Bledsoe. He fights forward. He's got 1st down yardage and then some. Great carry by Michael Bledsoe, trying to show the coaches, hey, I can run the rock a little bit too. It's not just about Lowry and Bickham.
And the big thing is when you're a freshman and you're getting some playing time and you're behind 2 seniors, that depth chart's going to change a lot by this time next year. So go ahead and start auditioning now.
And there's fan favorite Paul Bucket Garcia. It's the senior in there at halfback. It's a good nickname for one of those big old fullbacks, Bucket. As he is affectionately known around the football team. Francis now puts Bledsoe behind him in a pistol formation. And he's going to give it to him on a long handoff. Can he make a man miss? Correction, that is not Bledsoe, that is Kevin Best trying to make something out of nothing there. No good. Minute 30 left to play here in the game. SAGU holding on to a 63-34 lead. They tried the extended handoff, and it's just swallowed up immediately.
As the clock ticks towards 1 minute left in this ball game, that for being a game that's going to end up very lopsided, had its moments, surprising moments of intrigue towards the end of the first half as we started the second, but the Lions came out ready to go as just a little quarterback keeper here and dominate the second half, scoring another 28 points in the second half. So they put up 35 in the first, 28 in the second, and are going to hang on, provided any big broken run here in the last 30 seconds for a 63-34 victory.
And for all intents and purposes, this will be the last snap of the game as Francis takes it and hands it off. And a big run there as Darian Carter gets involved in the rushing game.
Everybody gets a carry. Everybody gets a carry at the very end here and just keeps pushing those impressive rushing totals even higher. That will be the last play of this one.
As the teams will gather at midfield, SAGU walks away with a 29-point victory, 63-34. And Tim, like you said, it did not feel as lopsided as it was in that first half.
No, because it really felt like we had the makings of what was going to be a barn burner of the second half. All credit to the SAGU Lions offense coming out swinging early on. J.P. Lowry just really putting the team on their back, on his back, carrying it down the field on that first drive, on the second drive, on the third drive. Just was the man in the second half. And I think obviously so many players stood out in this game. You can be very quick to forget what you saw at the very beginning of the game with Carl Morgan with the pick six and the forced fumble that gave the Lions their initial 14-0 lead.
Is he still your pick for player of the game? I told you he was a candidate.
Wait. There were 2 games that were played tonight. We need a player of the first half and a player of the second half, because absolutely what Carl Morgan did to give the Lions their initial burst to take that lead that ended up becoming a 35-0, you can't forget that. But no, there's no question who the player of the game is after his performance in the second half. You got to give it to J.P. Lowry. A final look at his stats on the night. 16 carries, 167 yards. That's over 10 yards a carry. 2 touchdowns. He would have had more, but Ricky Bickham had to come in and pick up 3 of his own.
The vulture.
If you have Lions on your fantasy football team, that's just devastating. It's got to be J.P. Lowry, because when the team was tested, not that they weren't tested early on, they passed the test going up 35-0, but when it's 35-20 at the half and you have that panic moment and the first play of the half is a catch that's negated by a penalty, it could have just felt like, oh no, you're a pick 6 away from being this a 1-score game. If you punt it away, what's going to happen? J.P. Lowry got the ball and calmly and methodically fought his way down the field on that first drive, pushed it to a back to a 22-point lead, got the ball back, helped push to 29, got the ball back again. The biggest lead of the night was 36, and it was because of Lowry and Bickham coming in behind him, but definitely Lowry taking the lead on this one. So he is got to be, without a doubt, our player of the game. This is Coach Tristan talking to his players. Like I said, there'll be stuff to improve on this. There were way too many penalties.
Absolutely, yep.
And for around 7 minutes, you were at risk of giving up. Look at that, 23 penalties, 12 penalties for 127 yards. That's not that means they weren't good penalties either. That's an average over 10 yards of penalties. So you got 15-yarders mixed in there. You got, defensive holding. But the Lions, how about this? 509 total yards on the game.
Look at the split between the passing and rushing yards.
That's pretty astounding. 255 to 254. And you can look at your rushing defense, too. Howard Payne puts up 243 yards on the ground. They also had 11 penalties. Those turnovers looming large for Howard Payne. Those back-to-back turnovers in the span of 30 seconds put them in the initial 14-0 hole that led to a 35-0 hole that they were never technically able to recover from. The Lions' 3 turnovers all coming in the blink of an eye at the end of the second half, or the first half, that is, that really jeopardized their 35-0 lead. Third downs, Lions convert 5 out of 8. Again, with how many yards they had, when you have more touchdowns than third down attempts. You had 9 touchdowns and 8 third down attempts. That is just a testament to how good Lowry was on first and second down, to how accurate C.J. Collins was when it mattered, getting the ball to the right receivers, and to the fact that he had 3 turnovers. That helps reduce the punts when you just turn it over occasionally. But to only have 8 third downs in that game. Looking ahead to the future broadcast schedule, the next time SAGU Sports Network will be live, we'll be right back here September 9th with East Texas Baptist coming to town. That will be a big one for the Lions. And looking ahead, soccer on September 11th, soccer again on the 14th, and that volleyball team we're just talking about, they're back on the 15th and 16th. Little back-to-back weekend action there coming up in about 2 weeks from today, but the big one a week from tonight. We'll be right back here as your 1-0 Lions will take on East Texas Baptist University. 1-0 Lions, that always sounds good. Always good to start the year off with a win. Automatic winning record. Gives you the good foot to start a year off that has a lot of promise, I feel like. We saw the promise tonight with what this offense can be, how threatening they can be, both through the air and on the ground. A defense that came up big time and time again with some crucial turnovers. Big play after big play. Like I said, you saw the groundwork for what can really be a great season. And it's an exciting season. When I look at this schedule, I get so excited because of all the conference games we have. The CSFL has become so stacked. We got so many exciting games coming up later on this year. Obviously starting with East Texas Baptist, Arizona Christian, Wayland Baptist, Lyon, Langston. We got some good games coming in here as SAGU will look to really make their mark on the CSFL this year, a conference that now has 9 teams. But like back in the day, we had to wait forever for conference play. You'd have to play 5 non-conference games. It gets real in a hurry this year with Texas College on September 16th. Obviously, we're back here, East Texas Baptist, September 9th. I think we have somebody waiting for us, don't we, Adam?
I think we have the player of the game waiting for us. He's with our sideline reporter, Kristen. Kristen, let's talk to JP.
Thanks, Adam. J.P. Lowry, impressive win over Howard Payne tonight. What factors would you say contributed to this success?
I think we just maintain trust in our teammates. You know what I mean? I mean, things went down. You see, we just got chemistry. We just fly around. You know what I mean? We believe in each other. So, yeah.
What does this win mean for the team?
I think we saw how high we can go. And, we had some mistakes, so we got high expectations for next week and everything like that. So it was a good win.
Thanks, JP, and have fun celebrating tonight. Back to you, Adam.
Thank you, Kristen. JP Lowry, one of the most well-spoken players on this SAGU team. I got to know him pretty well last year. Fantastic individual, great young man. And there you see the chemistry. Ricky Bickham coming up a little fun and games there with JP.
And maintain trust in the teammates. When the going got tough, there was no finger pointing in the locker room. The 35-point lead became 15. They kept trust in the system. They kept trusting what their game plan was. They kept trusting each other, and resulted in a big win here tonight. There are more challenges ahead, and that trust is only going to have to grow and get bigger as the season progresses.
If you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on all of our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, the Big Four. Go ahead and follow us there. You'll see highlights after games, updates on scores from every sport we have here at SAGU. For our wonderful student crew and our sideline reporter, Kristen Urban, and for my partner, Tim Roberts, join us next Saturday, September 9th for ETBU football right here on the SAGU Sports Network.